Welcome to the Veterans Archives podcast, where we honor our nation's veterans by preserving and sharing their stories. You can also hear Veterans Archives on Wreaths Across America Radio every Thursday at 5 p.m. To learn more about our mission, watch veteran interviews, or find out how to record a veteran story, please visit veteransarchives.org. And if you or a veteran you know needs support or resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Today is Monday, July 27th, 2026. We're talking with Stephanie Cain, who served in the United States Army and also the Army National Guard. So good afternoon, Stephanie.
Hello.
Thanks for having me in your home.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this.
All right. Well, we'll just jump right in,
Okay.
and I'll ask, when and where were you born?
I was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan, 1971.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Grew up in Kalamazoo?
I did.
All right.
I did. I've been in Kalamazoo my entire life, except for when I was in the military.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Brothers and sisters?
I have one of each, and I live like about a mile from my parents, so
Oh.
still pretty close to where I grew up.
Yeah, not only are you home, but you're home.
Yeah, I'm home.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, where'd you fit in the pecking order?
I'm the youngest.
Are you?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you the spoiled youngest? Or you don't like to look at
It depends on who you ask. I'll say no.
Okay. But if I asked your brother and sister, what would you
Yes,
say?
absolutely.
Okay. All
It
right.
was a yes.
Well, talk to me about growing up. What were your parents like?
Hard workers.
Yeah?
Hard workers. My dad had a really strong work ethic for us. My mom worked several different jobs throughout my life, my younger years. And there were some times where she was stay at home as well. But definitely had a great family support. I don't think I ever did any kind of daycare. I think I was always with my mom, or when we were old enough, we were just living,
Yeah.
what do they call it? Latchkey kid
Latchkey
or whatever.
kids,
But
yeah. I think
I had two older siblings, so they were old enough. But,
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Did you learn a lot of what not to do from your older siblings?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I learned a lot of things not to do from them. I think I was always probably the one that was like, I know you asked if I was spoiled, and I said no. But like, if there was something that we really wanted to do, I was sent in. I was the reinforcements to go in and ask.
Right. Because they knew you would get the right answer.
I would get the answer that we were looking for.
Well, so what was it like growing up in Kalamazoo in the 70s?
Well, where we grew up and where my folks live still, it's not real close to town. So we spent a lot of time outside. We had a garden. We pulled weeds a lot, or we were supposed to pull weeds a lot. We had woods. We spent a lot of time out in the woods with the neighborhood kids. You hear how, the lights turn on, that means it's time to come home. Well, we didn't have street lights. So for us, it's when the whistle blew, we knew it was time to come home. So,
Okay.
But there was probably 4 or 5 houses in the neighborhood that we were always either at our house or theirs. And we had a pool. So a lot of times it was our house because we had
were the
pool.
popular house.
Yes, we had the pool.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. And what was school like for you?
School, it was okay. I will tell you that, and I can share more of this later, but I was a little bit of a crybaby growing up. I got picked on a lot. My sister and I argued a lot, but do not let her hear somebody was picking on me. And she was like, nope, she's mine. You can't do that. But I was definitely needing a little bit of growing up, I think, because I was also the the youngest one. And I was actually very petite too at the time. So it was a little difficult. We ended up going to a private school for a couple of years and then coming back to public schools. So that helped a little bit, I think. But yeah.
How was that transition for you from private to public?
From private back into public?
Yeah.
It was fine, I think, because I had a lot of friends still from the area. I had a best friend that was at the school, and then friends from like Girl Scouts and things like that growing up. So we did have friends moving in. back into the public schools.
Yeah.
And when I went in, I was a sophomore. And so when from sophomore year on, I was actually a lot closer with those that were freshmen. So a year behind me, because we were all new at the high school at the same time. So
Yeah. Even though you had friends, that you didn't have
Mm-hmm.
those relationships
right.
that have been built through school.
Yeah, because you can have friends like you see them once a week or whatever, but then now all of a sudden you're spending every day with them. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Was there anything that like stood out in school that you really enjoyed?
well, yes, I liked the band. I was in the band. Specifically, I didn't care so much about playing an instrument. I played the flute, and then I was a percussion. But what I really enjoyed was I was on the color guard, and then I became the drum major. So, and that helped me when I went into the military. Marching was very easy for me.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Because people really knew how to mess that up in boot camp.
Oh, yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Well, that's great. And so were you in band all through high school then?
Yes, I was in. So my freshman year, when I went to, it was Hackett High School at the time. I was in the band. I played the flute. And then when I transitioned to public schools, I played the flute, I think just my sophomore year. And I did flute and color guard. And then junior and senior year, it was just percussion and drum major. So mind you, it sounds great that I was the drum major, but our band was like 12 people plus the color guard. So it was kind of small.
Oh, don't take it back. That's still an accomplishment.
No, it was. I loved it. I loved every minute of it, but it was very small compared to some other schools.
Right.
Yeah.
So you make it through school and you graduate. So what year would you have graduated?
89.
In 1989. Okay.
Yep.
And what happens after graduation?
Well, I went right to the Army. In fact, before my senior year, I knew I was going in the Army. I went to a recruiter. My neighbor was going in. And so I went with him to the recruiter. And the recruiter asked me, "What are you doing after high school?" And I said, "I'm going in the Army." And he said, "Don't you think you need to talk to me about that?" I'm like, "Sure, but that's what I'm doing."
Right. Whether you help me or not, I'm doing it.
And so he was like, "Come back on your 17th birthday and we'll talk." And so we did. I went back right after my 17th birthday, which was in September. And so I knew all through my senior year that I was going active right after graduation. So,
I know a lot of people in school at one point or another figure out what they want to do. What was it that made you go, "This is what I'm doing"?
Well, I knew I wanted to do it for a couple of reasons. I had 2 older siblings, and I knew that my parents were potentially going to have to pay for 3 people to go to college. And I didn't want to put that burden on them, so I wanted to do it myself. Also, my dad's best friend, who is the father of my best friend growing up, was also in the Army. He was a reserve officer. He was a lieutenant colonel, and I think he retired as a colonel. So I spent a lot of time on drill weekends with them. I saw the Army. I was interested in West Point. However, I knew that I was not by any means qualified for West Point. I did not have the athletic or the educational scorecard, we'll say, to get me in. So I knew I was going to go in the Army. I was very interested in it and attached, and that was just what I wanted to do. I think there was even a couple of Halloweens where I went dressed as a soldier.
So it was going to happen.
It was happening, yeah. I was I don't know, I just set my mind to it. This is what I'm doing. And the other reason, of course, is because I'm very patriotic. I've always been very patriotic, and that was, I'm going to serve my country. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Thanks.
So you graduate and off you go. So how long between graduation to boot camp?
A couple of weeks.
Oh, so you didn't even get your summer.
No, I left July 10th, I believe. July 10th, 1989 is the day I left. My first day was July 11th. So.
And you went where for basic?
Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Okay, lovely Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Yes.
Everyone has great things to say about it. So talk to me about getting to basic training. What was that initial impression like? Like I don't think you were too surprised, but like, was it what you expected?
Well, probably not exactly what I expected, but I did have some inclination from, I'll tell you, his name is Ron, from Ron, as to what to expect. And then, of course, my recruiter gave me some of what to expect. But when I went, I actually thought I was ready to pass the PT initial assessment, but I wasn't. So I had to go to what they called FitCo. fitness company, and spent a couple of weeks there getting my strength build up so that I could get into basic training. So I was pushed back a little later than I had expected. But when I went in, you only had to do one push up if you were a female to get in, just to get in. And I could not even do one push up correctly.
That's pretty rough.
It was rough.
Yeah. Yeah. We were going through your yearbook too. And you had really cut your hair off before you went to basic.
I did. Yes. I didn't want to deal with it. You know, I wanted it to be just easy for me to do. And so I just had we call it a pixie cut now, but I don't know what it was called back then. I didn't like it, but I had it.
It worked.
It made because I didn't have to worry about braiding my hair or putting it up in bun like they do now, or even the other soldiers that were in basic with me. I didn't have to do any of that.
Right.
I just wash and go.
Yeah. Yeah. So not your favorite move, but at least it worked.
It worked.
Yeah. So what else about boot camp? How was the rest of the experience then?
So when I went in, I mentioned earlier I was a bit of a crybaby before I went in the Army.
Yeah.
And so, they start yelling at you and I'm in tears, doing push-ups, whatever, because I'll make you do the push-ups. And at some point, I couldn't tell you exactly when it was, but at one point, it finally just clicked to me that it was a mind game, which is what it is. They want to test your mind, your emotional intelligence, and your actual intelligence.
Right.
And so I just turned it into a joke. So if they started calling me for something, instead of crying because I thought I was in trouble, I just yelled at the top of my voice like they were yelling at me, "Moving drill sergeant!" And I would just run to them, and they got the biggest kick out of it. Now, did they call on me more often? Yes, they did. But they got a kick out of it and they liked me. So
yeah, you weren't called out because you were in trouble at that point.
No, no, but I was very easily, very intimidated and could really, break down easily for anything in high school or, in younger years. And so that really built my strength up.
Yeah. So it was like turning point then where you stopped doing that.
I stopped crying about it and started just doing something about it and just learning that, you know what, listen, you put your combat boots on the same way I do. So
yeah, right. So I'm curious, did you come home right after basic training then?
So after
AIT?
basic, I went straight to AIT, but because I was pushed back a couple of weeks because of fitness company, I had to wait for the next class, and that was at Fort Harrison.
Yeah.
And so while I was there, my mom and dad and Ron and his wife came down to visit. So my first day at Fort Harrison, I'm in there unpacking into my wall locker, and I hear my name, and of course I'm, "Yes, drill sergeant," and running, and they cracked that one up too. But
he kind of rolled his eyes like, "What's going on?"
He was like, "What is happening?" So anyway, so I got to actually go spend the day with them because there was nothing for me to do while I waited. So I went and spent a weekend. I still had to stay in the barracks and be home, be back in time. But I do remember very, very clearly, we went to the PX together. And we were going to go to dinner. We did end up going dinner at the Officers Club, which was very intimidated as a private, wearing my ugly glasses. But in between, I just crashed on they were staying at visiting officer quarters. Yeah. I crashed on the bed and took a really long nap. That was way overdue.
Oh yeah. I think naps are highly underrated.
Yes.
That's definitely true. So did your parents notice a change in you then? After basic?
Yeah, I think they did because I was definitely quite different. A lot stronger physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Were they like, "When are you going to cry? We're waiting for you to cry." That kind of.
No, they didn't ask that, but they might have been wondering.
Yeah. Yeah. In the back of their head, they're probably thinking something's changed here.
Yeah.
So what was your AIT? What did you actually go to school for?
For finance.
Okay.
So did that at Fort Bend. In fact, when I first joined and I went to the MEPS to get my job, I told them I wanted finance, and they said, "Well, we don't have that." And I said, "Then I will go next door to the next recruiter and they will find it." And they found me a slot.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting how magically that happened?
Yeah. I knew that's what I was going to do, and I wasn't going to accept anything else.
Yeah.
So.
And now how long were you at AIT for that?
Oh, how long was that? I don't remember how long I was there. I want to say maybe, probably about 2.5, 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I do remember I got to my first duty station early December. So, yeah.
And then what was your first duty station?
Fort Ord.
Oh, okay.
By the way, if you're not noticing a trend here, Fort Dix is closed, Fort Ben is closed, Fort Ord is closed.
You've caused some things to happen. What was it like being at your first duty station? Because now you don't have to yell, yes, drill sergeant, right?
Well, the first thing I noticed is when we went to, they had like an in-processing station that you would go through and spend like a week there. You get all your gear and everything, and they'd assign you to your unit. And the very first thing that we got was the person who was checking us into transition was like, oh, aren't you girls cute? Because there was like 4 of us that were there, 5 of us actually, 5 of us, and they were just like, "You're so cute." "Yes, Sergeant." "No, Sergeant." We don't do that.
You just knocked that off right now.
Yeah. So of course we still did it because it takes a while to get out of that, and you still have to do that with respect to your other soldiers anyway. So, but it was very fun. I will say at Fort Ord, the one thing that we really noticed was that the ratio of male to female. So everybody knew who we were. So even our first weekend, as we were walking to the PX or wherever, just random people would stop. "Are you the new finance girls? Do you need a ride?" So everybody knew who we were because there weren't that many females.
Yeah. What was that like for you that's a pretty small minority to be in?
It was very overwhelming. Also, it was fun from a growing up standpoint because growing up, I was, the crybaby, and nobody really, I didn't date much in school because I was the crybaby, right? So, but when I had gone through this transformation, I'll call it, and I get to this duty station with all these men, I got a lot of attention. Right. So, so that was kind of fun. So
did you learn how to discern the right kind of attention from the wrong kind of attention at some point?
Not nearly soon enough.
Right.
It took a long, and in fact, I would say way too long for me to discern the difference and how to respond to it. So, yeah.
Well, I guess it's hard though if you're not used to that. It seems sort of special at the time, right?
It certainly does. I was like, oh, okay. So, but if I could go back and change the way that I received it, I think I would receive it differently now.
Older you would definitely have a conversation with younger you,
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And how long were you there?
I was there until I want to say 92.
Okay.
Yeah, 92. And I actually got married before I left there. So, yeah, I did get married to another soldier. So.
Now, was he in the same unit as you?
No, nope. He was, I don't remember what kind of unit he was in. He was a motor sergeant. He was a motor sergeant. But we met and dated and got married way too soon. And then we both ended up on orders to Korea. So when we left, we went to Korea, and we did not want to spend 2 years there, calling it an accompanied tour. So we went unaccompanied and both spent a year in our separate barracks.
Wow.
Probably the best year of our marriage.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So the marriage survived Korea then.
It survived Korea, not after Korea.
So talk to me about Korea, because when we're looking at your yearbook about Korea, your whole demeanor changed. That seems like that was a pretty good deal for you. Yeah,
it was. I think I really started to gain some of my leadership style there, and gain some of my confidence. So totally different confidence than what I came out of basic training from. So I really enjoyed what I was doing, enjoyed the people I was with, and got to see a lot. I think I started loving traveling at that point because there's a lot to see in Korea, and I got to do that. So so that was a really great memory. I'd like to go back because I know it's a ton different now than it was then.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine that it would be a whole different experience then, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about "Get That Bag Off Your Shoulder," because I saw that I saw that as a quote of yours in there.
Yes, it was. So you're not supposed to carry. Now you can. Now they have bags that you can carry. But
Right.
back then, you did not carry a bag on your shoulder. You had a ruck. You could use a ruck, but you couldn't carry like a book bag or your lunch bag or nothing like that on your shoulder. And there was just, I would see that all the time. And that was just one of my pet peeves. I'm like, get that bag off your shoulders. Shoulder soldier.
Right.
So, and again, that was kind of me starting to gain some confidence and leadership. Hindsight, is that really leadership to tell somebody to do that? No, but it was, that was part of my transition into that, was really
Right.
holding people accountable, I'll say.
Right.
Yeah.
And in a small way, it is holding people accountable, but also it's not easy. I don't think people get this. It's not easy when you see something wrong to point it out and to correct it. And not because you're on a power trip, but because you care that person's doing the right thing.
Yep, exactly.
It's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Even the small things.
It's not. People don't respect it when they get the feedback. It's hard to receive, and I'll say that in my job now, right? It's hard to receive feedback, whether it's good or bad. People don't always want to hear it. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Most of the time, I
Yeah.
don't think they really want to hear it, but
Yeah.
sometimes they need it.
Yep.
It's
Exactly.
important.
I need it.
Yeah.
I needed correction sometimes too. So,
Yep, absolutely. So a year in Korea, and then where to from Korea?
Fort Hood, Texas.
Okay.
Which luckily is still open.
Yes. You haven't closed it yet.
No, they haven't.
Maybe.
Right.
And so did your husband go to Fort Hood with you then?
Yes, he did. Yep.
So now you got to live together.
Yep.
Yeah. How'd that go?
That was stressful, and didn't go the best.
Yeah.
And I was ready at that point to start looking at what's next after the Army. So we, without getting into too many details, our ideas didn't align.
Right.
And it created some issues. So I went to school, became a police officer, and was ready to kind of transition into civilian life, and just other things got in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you parted ways.
We parted ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the other thing too, I don't think a lot of people realize this about like dual military couples, but when you're not together, you develop your own sense of who you are. And then when you get back together, you both still want to be like that, who you are, but it sometimes it just clashes.
Yeah.
And it's not a good or bad thing. It just is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you you went to school while you were at Fort Hood, knowing that I'm not going to continue?
Let's take a quick break.
Before we continue, we'd like to share a resource that may be helpful to veterans and their families. The Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org is designed to connect veterans with support, resources, and a community that understands their experiences. If you or a veteran you know could benefit from those resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app and learn more at vetlifetoday.org.
Yes. I had looked into doing like changing my MOS into like a CID or something like that.
Yeah.
So, because I was interested in criminal justice and all of that. So I started with going to school to be a police officer. And then I did that as a reserve police officer in Texas. So it was a weekend thing after I graduated. And then once I graduated, I think we were at that point, I knew that things were not going to continue anyway. So I was like, this will be my job that I can take home to Michigan, because Texas license transfers to Michigan, or at least it did. So it was perfect for me.
Yeah.
At the time. So, yeah. So
you get out.
I got out.
So now we know that you went into the Army National Guard, right? But did you know you were going to go to the National Guard when you got out?
Yes.
Okay, so that was just a natural part of your transition.
Yes, it was. I had already been in, just short of 8 years, and so I why not just continue weekends and retire? So
yeah, the old 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the year promise, right?
Yes.
Which turned out to be kind of the opposite, at least while I was in.
I bet for you, yeah. For me, it was pretty much that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you, where was your duty station in the National Guard?
So I had a few. My primary one was in Lansing I did same job, military pay.
Yeah.
That was a struggle for a couple of reasons. The drive.
Yeah.
It was a long drive. And then also all of the people that work there, with the exception of me and maybe one other person, are full-time employees.
Right.
So even though I was an E5, I got treated like an E1 and got all the crap jobs. Yeah. Like I would walk by and there would be stacks of papers to be filed, travel documents to be filed. And I'm like, you literally walked past the file cabinet to put it on that pile, wait for me to file it. Like I can process travel just as fast, or if not faster than you can. Like filing is not my job. It's part of it, but they literally just saved it for me to do. And that was a real struggle for me. I really felt underutilized.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have a lot of experience.
Yeah, exactly.
I find sometimes in the Guard, people don't realize the experience you have, so they just
assume.
discount you.
Yep, exactly. I also did, I worked for some time in the signal company here in Kalamazoo. It was 126 when I first joined, and then a couple of years later when I ended up going back, it was 156 signal. So I worked primarily in the office. I processed their payroll there, any personnel type stuff I did, and then also I spent some time also working in the motor pool, doing some work there too. So
she did all kinds of stuff then.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm like, put me in an office somewhere. Tell me what to do. I'll just do it.
Now, at the same time, you worked as a police officer then?
No, actually. So when I got off of active duty, I found out that I was pregnant.
Oh.
On the day that I got divorced. All happened on the same day. I got off of active duty, found out I was pregnant, and got divorced all on the same day.
That's a lot of change.
It was a lot of change. I drove home and I decided I don't think I want to do that as a single mom.
Right.
So I ended up starting as a temp employee at the bank. And 30 years later, I'm still here.
You're not a temp employee anymore, though.
No,
right?
I am not. I am not.
That's quite a change, though. I mean, isn't it funny how life turns out way different than we thought it ever would?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when I was at Fort Hood, one of my assignments was I worked as a training NCO for my finance battalion.
Yeah.
And I got so much experience in that it actually got me my first leadership role at the bank. So I was hired as a facilitator. And then from there, I got into leading teams. So I put the credit back on that, just the experience that I had running our shop for training. So
right. Well, there's not a lot of people who are 18 or 19 that get the sort of responsibility that you had, that you got from the military.
Yeah.
Do you see that was really a huge help?
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like sometimes you're light years ahead of people you're competing with just because they don't have that experience that you have.
Yeah. Although I'll say that throughout my entire career, until very recently, I never had a degree. Yeah. So there are a lot of people who have degrees, which puts them ahead in some aspects, but I had different experience. So, yeah.
Yeah. So when did you get your degree?
2024 in November.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, my bachelor's degree. So
I was a late bloomer for my degree as well.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get one right away.
I kept working on it. So all through, like when I was, I think at Fort Ord, I took a couple classes and then of course I went to school to become a police officer. And so I just did all these different versions of school. And I remember the last time I took a class before I started my bachelor's was an online class. And I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't need to do this. I'm good in my career. I'm not doing this anymore. And so I quit the class, dropped the class and never went back until my employer provides a benefit for us for schooling. So, so I pursued my bachelor's degree. I'm like, you know what? Let me do it. I wanted to be a good example to my daughter. I think I was an example to my son for the military because he went in. And then now I wanted to be an example to my daughter before she graduated. I started my college degree. So it worked out. I loved it. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're going through it, you're like, oh, what am I doing? But when you're done, it's like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought maybe it was.
I think it was better the second time because I work remote since 2017.
Yeah.
So taking classes at home was a whole lot different this time than it was like in 2010 or whenever the prior time was. So I was like, I ain't doing this.
It's just not working out very well.
Yeah.
And so you have a son and a daughter.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about them.
So Austin is my son. He is married to his beautiful wife, Kenna. He actually, after he served a couple of years in the military, he came home. And after COVID, he was trying to get his nursing degree, but he couldn't get into the classes he needed for labs. So he ended up moving to North Carolina with his dad to help him with his business. And that is where he met Kenna. And they've been married just over a year and a half. And last year he went to the academy and became a Virginia State Trooper. So they live in Virginia now. And that's where her family is. So they have their family support there. So
yeah. Is there a little bit of pride in the fact that he became a police officer?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I got to give him his diploma because I had law enforcement in my background. So there were like 3 other people that got to hand out diplomas to family members. I felt a little bit of imposter syndrome because they were all like retirees. And I'm like, yeah, I did it for 9 months.
But still, you did it.
Yeah.
But still, you did it.
Yeah.
So, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about your daughter.
So Logan is, she's living at home most of the time. She hangs out with some good friends, and she'll do some Shipt and some other jobs that she does a little bit here and there.
Right.
She's looking for some full-time employment. She was working, but she had to have foot surgery. And so she is currently unemployed because of that. So, yeah. So unfortunately she had not been in her prior job long enough to apply for, to be able to do any type of leave or anything. So, but she's awesome. She did a year of ministry school. So like my son, she's very strong in her faith and like me. So,
yeah. Is that something that kind of runs through your family then?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. My mom and dad instilled that with that work ethic. So we very much have strong faith. So
tell me why that matters.
Oh gosh.
I know it's
for
kind
military?
of a curveball question, but just for you in general and for your family and for the military, all that stuff.
Well, I'll start with the military because I will tell you that when I'm standing in line in basic training and trying to get through the day, like I'm standing in line to eat, and you're not allowed to talk to anybody, I just would stand there and pray. Yeah. And anytime something, scary, whatever, like when you fire your weapon for the first time, say a prayer, right?
Right.
So I really feel like my faith kind of, it's my core, right? It really helps me calm down if I'm upset about something. It's helped me throughout my entire life. I don't know, I would not be the woman I am today without my faith. So, and then I just think, family. So, handling divorces, Logan's dad, I'm divorced from him, who also was in the military too. But, going through all of that, I handled it with grace. So like, I never talked bad about my ex to her. That's not what God would want me to do. Right. So,
yeah. Well, and I think 2 things. One, is a person of faith, right? It doesn't mean that life's going to be easy. And it also does not mean that you're going to be perfect.
Right.
Right.
And I hear, and I've said it myself, like, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Actually, the Bible doesn't say that, but it does say that he'll be with you.
Right.
He will be with you. And that is the most important thing. Like, you're never alone. You have God. So, so that's always been, my core, my strength is I know God's with me. So, and I see that in my son. My son, so we used to sing in the choir. My mom sang in the choir. My dad did for a while. So then I did, and my son did. My son has a wonderful voice. And so even when he was in the Army, like, he sang in the choir. He sings in the choir now, the church he goes to now. So I just absolutely love that. So you have different traits and strengths coming from different places, and you can see them woven in throughout the lives of our family. So yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I kind of got that from your dad too. Because full disclosure, I just interviewed your dad. For anyone listening, we just got done with the interview with your father. So, with all that said, we've covered a lot of stuff. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to make sure that we do get to and that we do talk about?
I don't know. I mean, I got a million stories, but I don't know. You have to ask me a question, then I can answer.
If you've got a million stories, if you had to think back on your million stories, right? What's one story that pops into your head that's like, that's the story I want people to hear?
Let me give a lesson first, because that actually prompts it. And I just said, ask me a question and then I'm going to do something. So a lesson that I learned was, you have to be strong enough to stand up for yourself. You have to, like, you can't be disrespectful. You got to follow the rules and all of that. But I'll say that, one thing that happened to me at Fort Ord is I wanted to do air assault. So Fort Ord was an air assault base. And so I could have gone to air assault. I was training for it. And my first sergeant told me flat out he didn't want women representing the unit. And I took that as an answer, and I should not have, because that is not acceptable. It wasn't then, and it's not now. So I missed out on that opportunity because I just accepted that. As much as I hated the answer and I was so disappointed by it, he shouldn't have said that. He should have allowed me to try out. If I didn't make it, that's my own deal, right? But that's on me. But he didn't even allow me the opportunity to try it. So so that was kind of disappointing. Good stories I like to tell. When I was in Korea, I didn't get to go air assault, but they had, I don't know if they still have it or now, but this, they call it permissive TDY. So it wasn't like you're required to go to this, but I was able to go to a 2-week training where we learned how to do Australian rappelling. So we started on a bunny hill and we did obstacle courses. We did rock climbing up huge ledges. And I was scared to death of heights, but I did it and I loved it. Made some great friends. And then, just the experience, the very last day of the actual training, we did this whole course where you put all of it into use, including this massive, valley you have to go across and on a rope like this. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was so hard. But I did it, and we ended at the last part of it was you went up this mountain, and it was like a 900-meter mountain, and we rappelled down the top 300. So it was amazing. We're climbing up this mountain as a squad, and we're passing old ladies and goats and whatever, but we're dying, but we're getting up there. Right. And it was just so, and you get to the top, and everybody looks like ants that's down on the ground, but it was so amazing. I have a picture of it somewhere, but I don't even know where. So. I was going to tell you about the friendships. I think that's important. Yeah. So, when I first got to Fort Ord, there were 5 of us and we all went to AIT together. Actually, I think there was 4 of us that went to AIT together, but 5 of us that got there about the same time. And we were like the best of friends. We were so close. 2 of us were roommates at AIT. And then when we got to Fort Ord, and I will tell you that the 5 of us are still talking today. And last year on Veterans Day, we went to San Antonio and stayed at an Airbnb for a long weekend. And you would never have known that most of us had not seen each other in probably 20 some years. Yeah. So there's one that she lives in Chicago. So every now and then I see her, if she's in town or if I'm over there. But what a great experience. And I think I'll say that like social media and the iPhone, like COVID, that really got us all further together because we started doing FaceTime. Because, you're stuck in the house. Right. What else are you going to do? Right. So we did, we'll get on a FaceTime and talk for hours on end. And so we just kept talking about, let's get together. And finally, 2020, 5, I think, was the year where I said, just book it. I think after I got my degree, I was like, stop chasing life down the road, right? Yeah. Just book it. And so I'm like, we're booking it. And I booked it and we got together and that was so fun. We're working on a next one. And I mean, just to be able to reconnect and relive a few memories. We used to sing before we went to the bar. We would sing Meatloaf, Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Right. Great song. Every time we were going to the bar while we were getting ready, we played that and we would sing it and dance it in our room. And so we relived that memory. That was fun. And just talking and having a good time. And it doesn't matter that, we've all moved in our lives to different, we have different beliefs. We have different, different sides of the political spectrum and all that. But
Right.
one thing that I don't care. I want to connect with you as a person. And so it was really great to be able to just get together, and you would have never known that it had been so long. So
I think that's the beauty of military relationships. That unless you're in, you don't get it. Like I can do that. I can pick up the phone and talk to someone I haven't talked to in years, and nothing changed. I mean, as far as the relationship goes.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. You just pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you sitting down and talking this afternoon. I always ask one final question, though, to wrap up the conversation. And that is, if someone's listening to your story 100 years from now, and you and I probably aren't going to be here 100 years from now, but you never know.
Right.
What would you want people to take away from this?
Well, anyone that's listening or considering going in or whatever, I think it's important to think this too. But I'll say, even especially for women, is you can do hard things. You can do it. You don't have to have the experience to go in. They're going to teach you what they need you to know. But also, I feel like it is so important for us to be able to voluntarily give what so many others have. Like, did I ever see combat? Absolutely not. But I was willing to. And there's not a lot of people that will do that these days. So I think it's important to remember that we need people who will do that. As long, this country's not going to survive without it. And we need people that are willing to just to step outside of your comfort zone and go. I absolutely loved my service. I would do it again. I would love to have the lessons I know now when I did it again, but I would do it again. And try different things, right? So I went in, I told you I was set. I want to do finance.
Right.
Well, when I was in the National Guard, there were times where they're like, you want to help us in the kitchen? I was like, yeah, I loved it. I'm like, maybe I should have been a cook.
Right. Or a mechanic or 100 other things, right?
Yeah, you can learn new things. And that's the other thing about the military is you don't always do what you're trained to do, because I did training. I was the training NCO for a while. I worked in the kitchen for a little bit when they needed me on the weekends. And you can learn so many skills that you never would have thought that you could do. So I know how to drive a Humvee. I know how to drive a deuce and a half and a 5-ton. Now, if I got in one, would I like to do it right now? Probably not. Maybe the Humvee. That'd be all right.
Yeah. But you could if you needed to,
I
right?
could. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for having me in your home and sharing your story with me.
I appreciate the opportunity to do it. And I appreciate that you're gathering all of this from others. So.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening to the Veterans Archives podcast and for helping us honor the service and sacrifice of our nation's veterans. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with others so more people can hear these important stories. To learn more about our mission, watch additional veteran interviews, or find out how to record a veteran story, please visit veteransarchives.org. And if you or a veteran you know needs support or resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org. You can also hear Veterans Archives on Reads Across America Radio every Thursday at 5 p.m.